We like to say, if you can't draw the work, you don't really understand it. And if you don't understand it, there's no way you can fix it. But when we represent the work on the wall, and 6 or 8 people are standing looking at the wall, and the wall showing the work and the problems, and they're staring right back at you, there's no more fighting. Everyone's looking at the same problem. They want to fix it. And so it changes the morale and the motivation of people and gets things going much better. But there's a little bit of trick of how do I represent the complex intellectual work I'm doing on the wall? And that's some of the techniques that we teach. I worked in factories for 30, 40 years of my life. But when I got to be an executive, the same tricks that we learned there from Toyota and other places, they didn't work in the office. So we set out on, my colleague and I set out on a journey to figure out how these ideas, how they show up in the office area. And that's where we got with the principle approach versus rules and rituals and procedures approach. And the visual management is a really important piece because we want to see where the work is. Intellectual work and creative work is invisible. So what we do is we put it on the wall and we show the work on the wall, where it's stuck, where it's moving, what it is. And then people can see and apply the same thinking that you do in manufacturing, but in a much better way. So the visual management really helps understand what's happening so that people can manage it. I've been working with a colleague, Nelson Repenning, who's a professor at MIT of social science. He's the academic and I'm the practical, and we met in 1996 when I worked at Harley-Davidson. I was the guy that could fix things but didn't know why they worked. And he would ask me questions. Why did that work? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? And I go like, I don't know. And so we would run experiments. I would fix something and we'd talk about it. And we just kept fixing things and discussing why it worked. And about 2010, after almost 20 years, he said to me, Don, we have something new here. I've read all this literature in industrial improvement and said, we're doing something different. And so about 5 years ago, we started talking about writing a book. But writing a book is really hard. But about a year and a half ago, we got a contract, we got a concept, and we've just turned the manuscript in. It's a great book, goes through the 5 principles, the approach, lots of real stories of projects and transformations that we've been involved in. I'm not an academic, so I worked in industry. So the things I teach are the things I know and I learned. I don't do case studies and say, oh, here's why this happened. No, I know this story because I was in the story or I had students that were in the story. So I'm relating real live experiences and things that'll be helpful to people, not just abstract concepts. First of all, we don't just put up like the targets, like have to be 50%. We put up the activities and the work. So one thing is to say, well, here's our target is to reduce cost by 10% or produce so-and-so. But we don't just put the milestones in, we put what are the activities that we think we need to get done to meet that goal? And then did we do the activity and did it give the result or not? Now everyone can see the activity set and agree it's the best one. They can align the activities between the people and they can see when they're making a mistake or when they're finding something new.